The bet that turned into love. My name's Karen. I'm 27 years old, and I've always thought of myself as ordinary, maybe too ordinary. I go to work, I come home, I listen to rain hit my window, and most days, that's enough. But a year ago, everything changed because of something small. A careless joke, a silly office bet. They said I was too serious, too cold, too hard to make smile. One of them decided to try. His name was Jarren. At first, it was all for fun, just laughter behind my back. But what none of us knew was that a simple dare would become something much deeper. This is the story of how I learned that even the most painful beginnings can still lead to something honest if you let them. 1. Morning, my name's Karen. I'm 27 years old, and I live in Seattle. If you saw me on the street, you probably wouldn't notice me. I'm quiet, predictable, maybe too cautious for my age. I work as an accountant in a mid-sized tech company downtown. My life is spreadsheets, coffee, and silence. People say I'm serious, but what they don't see is that sometimes being serious is just another way to stay safe. It's 7 a.m., and I'm walking through the drizzle toward the office, the city still half asleep. Seattle mornings smell like wet pavement and coffee, comforting, in a strange way. Inside the building, I press the elevator button and count the floors like always. Same routine, same people, same polite smiles. But that year, 2023, something changed, and it all began with a joke I wasn't supposed to hear. 2. The bet. It was a Friday afternoon, one of those lazy end-of-week moments when everyone pretends to work but mostly waits for 5 p.m. I was printing reports near the break room when I heard laughter, loud, careless laughter. Bet you can't get Karen to smile, someone said. Another voice, smooth teasing, replied, "You're on." My hand froze over the printer. They didn't see me standing there, just a few steps away. That second voice, it belonged to Jarren, one of the newer guys in marketing. He was the kind of man people noticed, easygoing, charming, confident. Everyone liked him, including, I admit, me, or at least the idea of him. I remember standing there, heat rising in my chest as the rest of them laughed. I grabbed my papers and left before they could see the look on my face. That night, I sat by my apartment window with a cup of tea, watching the rain streak the glass. It wasn't anger I felt, it was embarrassment, humiliation, the thought that I was nothing more than a joke. Still, something in me decided not to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. If he wanted to make me smile, fine, I'd give him nothing. 3. The coffee incident. The next Monday, Jarren showed up by my desk with 2 cups of coffee. He smiled, that effortless, practiced smile. "Morning, Karen," he said. "Thought you could use some caffeine. Heard you like caramel lattes." I looked at the cup, then at him. "Who told you that?" He shrugged. "Lucky guess." I took the cup anyway. "Thank you." His grin faltered, maybe because I didn't smile back. From that day on, he started showing up more, at lunch, after meetings, even offering to walk me to the bus stop when it rained. At first, I kept my distance, but he was persistent, not in a pushy way, but patient, like someone genuinely curious. He'd ask about my favorite books, what I listened to on my headphones, why I never joined company dinners, and slowly, against my better judgment, I started answering. 4. The change weeks passed. He made me laugh once, truly laugh, after spilling coffee all over his shirt during a presentation. He'd looked so horrified that I couldn't help it. He caught my laugh like it was gold. "There it is," he said softly, smiling. Knew it was hiding somewhere. Something inside me shifted that day. I told myself it was harmless, just friendly conversation, a little warmth in an otherwise cold office life. But I started noticing small things. The way he listened when I spoke, the way he'd make everyone else laugh, then quietly ask how I was doing. The way he never looked bored, even when I talked about mundane things. I didn't know it was all part of something that began as a joke. 5. The night at the pier. It was early spring when he asked me out to see the city lights from the waterfront. I almost said no, but something in his voice, soft and unsure, made me say yes. We walked along the pier, the air cool and smelling faintly of salt. The Space Needle glowed in the distance. He talked about his childhood in Tacoma, his love for photography, his dream to travel. I told him about my family, small, distant, quiet people. He listened like every word mattered. When we said goodbye, he looked at me and said, "You know, I like you, Karen," and I believed him. That night, I couldn't sleep. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not for being serious or quiet, but for being me. 6. The truth. 3 weeks later, I found out. Tony, from marketing, the same voice I'd heard that first day, mentioned it during lunch, not realizing I was right behind him. "Guess Jarren won that bet after all," he said, laughing. "Karen's practically glowing these days." The words hit harder than I expected. I left the cafeteria quietly, heart pounding, vision blurring. I sat in the restroom stall, hands shaking, staring at the tiled floor. So it had been true all along. I was never part of something real. I was a dare. That afternoon, I sent Jarren a short message. "Please don't talk to me again." And for 2 weeks I didn't. He tried. Emails, messages, even waiting by my desk. But I ignored them all, until the day I found a letter on my desk. 7. The letter. The paper was plain, folded once. His handwriting was careful, almost hesitant. "Karen, I don't expect forgiveness, but you deserve the truth." Yes, it started as a stupid office joke, one I should never have agreed to. But everything after that was real. Every laugh, every conversation, every moment. You taught me to listen, to care, to grow up. I'm sorry for how it began, but I'll spend the rest of my life being grateful it did, because it led me to you. Jarren. I read it twice, then a third time, and cried quietly at my desk, because part of me wanted to hate him. But another part, the tired, human part, believed him. 8. Forgiveness. The next morning, I found him by the elevator. He looked surprised to see me. "I read your letter," I said. He nodded slowly. "I meant every word." "I know." We stood there in silence, people walking past us. Then I said, "I don't trust you. Not yet, but I don't want to hate you either." He smiled faintly, almost relieved. "That's enough for me," he whispered. From then on, we started over, quietly, carefully. No flirting, no promises, just friendship. Sometimes rebuilding isn't about forgetting. It's about seeing what's left and choosing to stay anyway. 9. A year later, by the time a full year passed, the bet was a distant ghost. Jarren had changed, calmer, humbler, grounded. He volunteered with me at the shelter, helped organize fundraisers, even apologized publicly to Tony and the others for taking part in the dare. That meant more to me than words. When he told me he still cared, I didn't answer right away. I just looked at him, really looked. The man in front of me wasn't the one who made a bet. He was the one who learned from it. And maybe that's why, when he reached for my hand, I didn't pull away. 10. Now it's 2025. We live in a small apartment near Lake Union, filled with books, photos and coffee mugs from everywhere we've traveled. Sometimes I catch him watching me as I work on my laptop, that same quiet smile on his face. "What are you thinking about?" I ask. He grins. "That I won the best bet of my life." I roll my eyes, but I can't help smiling, because in a way, he's right. Not about winning, but about finding something real through all the noise. Love, I've learned, doesn't always start perfectly. Sometimes it begins as a mistake, a lesson, or even a dare. But what matters is what you build after the truth comes out. And what we built, it's honest, imperfect, and ours.